Hello everyone. Today is our last day of our mindset week. And today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. If you haven't heard of imposter syndrome before, it refers to the fear of being exposed. And for most of us, that means that we have a fear of putting ourselves out there as an expert in our field because we fear being exposed as anything but. I'm sure that you can think of examples when this has happened many times in your own lives. Imposter syndrome can be categorized into 4 different types of people. First of all, we have the perfectionist. The perfectionist has such high expectations for themselves that even small mistakes will make them feel like a failure. Next, we have the superwoman. They put in longer hours, they never take days off, and must succeed in all aspects of their life in order to prove to people that they are the real deal. Next, the natural genius. The natural genius is used to things coming easily to them. So when something seems too hard or they don't master it on their first go, they feel shame and self-doubt. Next, we have the soloist. The soloist does not like to ask for help. So when they do, they feel like a failure or a fraud. And lastly, we have the expert. They continuously seek out additional certifications or additional training because they feel as though they will never know enough to be qualified. I'm sure that all of us can see ourselves in one or more of those categories. People with imposter syndrome downplay their achievements. Often they use negative self-talk to convince themselves that they don't own their success. And this self-talk often provides seemingly rational support or a rational basis. One symptom is to pass off something they've done as easy, even if they've spent a lot of time or effort on it. How many times have you been to an event or spoken at an event and someone has said how brilliantly you've done? And rather than say thank you, you'll try and explain your success away. I know that I certainly have. The first step in overcoming imposter syndrome is acknowledging your feelings. Acknowledge what you're feeling and why you may be feeling it. You can start by writing your thoughts down. Whenever you experience these feelings of self-doubt or inadequacy, write them down and explain why you might be feeling this way. Be as specific as possible, and you may start to see a pattern. Once we've written it down, we can then reflect and recognize it next time it happens to us. Talk to others. Reach out and talk to people who you trust. You might be surprised how many of your friends and colleagues can relate to how you feel. You may feel as if it's you alone, but I guarantee it is absolutely not. Develop a plan. Dealing with imposter syndrome takes a long-term effort, but sometimes you need tactics to deal with it at particularly stressful moments. When that negative self-talk takes over, try to confront it by distancing yourself from the emotional power of that voice. You can do this instead by thinking of yourself in the third person. Try thinking, why did I do that? Why did I not do that? That will help you to gain a little bit more perspective and be objective in your external perspective on your thoughts and feelings. You can also counter the tendency to think I'm not good enough by deciding to take more risks. This might seem counterintuitive, but by taking calculated risks and succeeding, you can build a case against your own inner critic. Understand your strengths and weaknesses. Build up your confidence by becoming more aware of your strengths and weaknesses. Conduct a personal SWOT analysis to discover what you're best at and to think about how you can possibly minimize your weaknesses. Once you have a deeper understanding of your strengths and weaknesses, you won't have to spend so much time worrying that you're not qualified for certain tasks, projects, or roles. Develop a supportive network of people around you who can help you to appreciate the reality of your situation and counter your negative self-talk. And lastly, try to overcome that perfectionism. Learn how to set yourself realistic, challenging, and achievable goals. Instead of seeing your mistakes as something to be ashamed of, treat them as a learning experience that will help you to perform better next time. And most importantly, own your successes. Often people with imposter syndrome find it hard to accept compliments. When things go well, they attribute their success to external factors, such as help from others or just luck. When things go wrong, they always blame themselves. When you meet a goal or finish an important project, acknowledge that it was your skill and talent that made it happen and celebrate it. It's important to enjoy your successes. The more we celebrate our success, the more success we will create. So just a little introduction to imposter syndrome there. For today's task, I want you to simply listen to the video and identify what type of imposter syndrome you may be able to see in yourself and how you may be able to overcome it. What's most important is that you embrace your true self, you give yourself permission to not be perfect, and get surrounded by people who love and support you through good and bad times. At the end of the day, you're absolutely amazing and more capable than you have ever imagined. You're not an imposter, you're an absolute original. As the end of the Take Back Control post-COVID course, I've absolutely loved having you guys with me, and I hope that you will take everything you've learned to be a massive, massive success going forward, and I know that you will be. Have a fantastic weekend, and I shall see you soon.